Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to today's ICMI webinar, Boosting Agent Engagement, Collaboration, Gamification, and Reward. Thanks to today's sponsor, NiceInContact. And there's a link to their website right in the downloads window, the attachments window. If you look underneath your BrightTalk screen, you'll find that. I'm Roy Atkinson. I'm the Group Principal Analyst for ICMI and HDI, and I'll be your moderator today. And with us today are Gina Montague, Manager of Support Services at Infinite Campus. Gina is passionate about staff development, process improvement, and creating positive employee and customer experiences. Gina has over 25 years of leadership and service experience and is proud to have a career in the customer support industry. Since 2010, Gina has had the honor of leading the multi-award-winning support team at Infinite Campus, a software company that's transforming K-12 education. Gina is a presenter at national conferences and other industry events, sharing her lessons learned on a variety of topics related to employee and customer engagement. And also with us today, Samson, who is Senior Product Marketing Manager for NiceInContact. Samson has a passion for helping businesses connect the dots on delivering customer experience that stands out from the competition. For the past 10 years, Samson has had roles in contact center education and services, working closely with dozens of customer service teams across the U.S., U.K., and Canada as a workforce optimization trainer. Prior to 2010, she gained expertise in enterprise architecture and technical education. Samson shares unique perspectives and valuable insights on effectively combining technology and processes to gain operational and competitive advantages. She posts regularly on LinkedIn and on a NiceInContact blog. We have just a few housekeeping announcements before we begin today's presentation. First of all, we'd love for you to interact with other attendees today on Twitter using the hashtag ICMIWebinar. And call center ICMI is the handle for ICMI. You can participate in the question and answer session by asking questions at any time during the webcast, and they'll be answered during the Q&A session toward the end of the webcast as time permits. If you are experiencing any technical problems, please refresh your browser. It works wonders. You can download the slides from today's presentation by opening the Attachments tab on your BrightTalk screen, and check out those links you'll find there as well. There will be audience poll, and you can respond in the Vote tab below the presentation window. Remember that today's webinar will be available on demand shortly after the completion of this live webcast, and you'll receive an email reminder that it's available. The slides will advance automatically for you throughout the event. So let's get started today with a live poll. So go to the Vote tab on your BrightTalk window, and we're going to launch this poll about how you feel about your job. The question is, do you love your job? And the possible answers are, yes, I love my job. I like my job but don't love it. I'm not sure yet. And no, I do not love my job. So let us know how you feel about that. We're going to keep the poll open for about a minute or so. And tell us how you feel about your job. Be honest now. And the votes are coming in. You have just under 30 seconds to go here in the poll. Make sure you get your votes in. Do you love your job? You're not sure? You don't love your job? You like it? Let us know how you feel. Just a couple of seconds to go. Okay, we're going to stop the voting. Let's see how the results look. We'll give that a second to tabulate. And it looks like we have some happy folks in the audience today. 81% of you said, yes, I love my job. 15% said, I like my job but don't love it. And about 2% of you are too new to the job to tell. You're not sure yet. Nobody said, no, I do not love my job. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, Gina, over to you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Roy. I thought I'd start off with a little love today, right? Because right about now we could use some more love. And I'm so, so grateful just to see that there's more love out there for their jobs than not. I know I love what I do, I love my coworkers, and I love the company that I work for. And I think these three things are the key ingredients to that employee engagement that it positively impacts the business success. And so I'm really grateful to see that you guys do as well. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share a few of the things that we do at Infinite Campus to engage the entire support team. And this is a picture of our support team at Infinite Campus. We're a K-12 software company for student information systems. And with that, our team, we are about 40 people on our team, and we work with the school districts when they need help on our software. And in 2013, we won HDI, which HDI is a sister company of ICMI, their Team Excellence Award. And we were really excited to win that award. And shortly after winning, my boss, he had said, you know what, I think support is broke and we could fix a few things. And my first reaction was, how can we be broke? We just, we won an award, things are going well. And he said many other things, but I latched on to the broke part. And what he was really trying to say is, we have these team of problem solvers and that make a positive impact on the company, and it's time to take it to the next level. And we wanted to create a team of leaders and make support a career and really give them the autonomy to do their jobs even better and build some purpose in there. And so what we did is we changed our structure. Rather than we have 6 teams, and it's broken up by kind of our product support of different modules, and we flattened it. So now I directly manage 40 people since 2013, and some of you may be going, wow, that sounds absolutely insane. And yeah, back in 2013 when this was first discussed, I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to directly manage 40 people, because at the time I was having to manage people, right? But when you change the team and you create a team of leaders that know how to self-manage and know what to do and do the right thing, you don't have to manage people when you're building leaders. And so I want to talk about that a little bit on how we did that. And one of the things that really helped us was having this framework. Years ago, I had found this framework through HDI, and I just modified it a little bit to kind of give us what we needed at campus. But looking at all of those enablers, right, that go into building your team, and when you have those expectations laid out and everyone just knows what to do and how to do it, your results hopefully will be positive. And so for us, we look at it as that all those enablers that go into that to build those results, that's what creates your culture. And your culture is a byproduct of how you operate, and how you operate is defined on your expectations and what you have laid out. And when people know what to expect, things run a lot smoother. And one of the things to think about is that your enablers, those are your leading indicators, right? They influence future performance. And when you're looking at your results, those are the lagging indicators that are looking at what you do to put into that. One of the things that I highly recommend doing, if you haven't already done that, is both ICMI and HDI, they have industry awards. And I recommend taking a look at those awards, because the process of just submitting your team for that, it really helps to create a self-reflection, and by doing that will make you even better. Because prior to us even winning in 2013, I joined campus in 2010, and I knew it was definitely a special place at that time, and it took us a few years. I think we even nominated ourselves in 2012, and then continue to get better. And then even last year in 2019, resubmitted, because you can only submit every 3 years. But doing that every time, it just helps you to look at yourself and figure out how well are you really doing. And with all of this, one of the things that really helped us is defining our core values and how we wanted to operate. And we made this a team event. So back actually in 2012, we took a look at how do we want to be known as. And when we first built our core values, this list was a list of 10. We had studied great companies. We went on some tours, to see what people were doing, and many of the great companies that we had studied had 10 core values. So we thought, let's have 10 core values. And we lived with those 10 for probably a year and a half until we realized, you know what, it's too many, it was too cumbersome, we really didn't fully get it. And when we looked at them, it really condensed down to these 5. And since kind of redefining them in about 2013, 2014, we've really used these throughout everything we do, which I'll show you here at the end how we've incorporated into our onboarding. And so service is one of the biggest things we do, and wanting to show our customers the love, right, in everything that we do. And commitment. When you work in support, us for at campus, we are the one-stop shop, right? We don't have the luxury of saying that's not my job, you know, go to somebody else. We want to own it and make it better. And then teamwork. We can't do our job without others. The product is too massive, and so we need to rely on each other. And even though it's a little cliche to say we are greater than one, we truly know we cannot do this job alone. And then learning. Having such a massive product, it's difficult to know all of it. But we have to put it on ourselves to be responsible and learn and, you know, not be wait to be spoon-fed, but be out there and finding ways to grow and learn. And our CEO is a really big Star Trek fan. And so our building is actually shaped after the Star Trek Enterprise. If you Google Infinite Campus, I think there's maybe an aerial photo out there. But because of that live long and prosper, for those of you that are Star Trek fans, we changed our learning into a learn well and prosper. And then leadership. It's, you know, we want everybody on our team to be leaders. And with that, not that look at me and my fancy cape superhero leader, but the Clark Kent, right? You don't know he's Superman. He comes in to save the day and he goes back to his humble self. And so having these defined core values has really kind of helped us grow into who we are, what we do, from when we're recruiting to everything. This is how we kind of measure how well we're doing. One of the things right now, you know, there's so much fear in our world. There's fear of this virus, fear of losing our job, fear of running out of toilet paper, which, you know, maybe this picture, people are running to get the toilet paper. I don't get the toilet paper thing. But we as leaders, we need to help reduce that fear by showing trust. And as I think about my own job, I know what's expected of me at work, and I know that I have the trust of my boss, who's the Chief Customer Officer. He knows I'm going to get my job done, and there's complete trust there. And I think if I was micromanaged or felt like my boss didn't trust me, I wouldn't be as happy with my job. And knowing that, I want my team to know that I trust them and that I'm there for them and that they can trust me to trust them. And with that, you know, I'll see that in little acts of things that come about. So, for example, when schools began to close and shift to online learning, we needed a new way to take attendance for our students at home. And so our development team came up with the solution that needed them to work throughout the whole weekend. Well, somebody from our team was already helping them with that prior to the weekend work, and he just stepped up and volunteered. He's like, I'll help test it. I'll help make sure I understand it. So Monday when support comes in, I'll train them to know what it is and get it done. And I didn't ask him to do that. He just stepped up because he knew it was the right thing to do. And I think when people have that opportunity to volunteer without being asked, they feel more committed, and it's just more purposeful for them as well for the experience. So a fun fact, this picture, the first week in October is Customer Service Week, so one of the fun things we do is photo contest. So one of our teams went out in the back park next to us, which ironically, there's a lake there called Loch Ness. This isn't really the Loch Ness Monster, but a dinosaur they photoshopped in, and it's just a great picture that I love using. And so when we tell people to do their jobs, we get workers. When we trust people to get the job done, we get leaders. So back in mid-March, I was at the grocery store. And I went just to get a few things. And as I walked through the store, it was, you know, such an eerie thing to see the shelves empty, you know, no bread, no canned food, no lunch meat, and again, no toilet paper. And I get to the aisle that had 4 people in it, all with carts that I wouldn't be able to get through. And so I decided to leave my cart at the end of the aisle and just grab the items I needed. So at this time, they hadn't implemented the 6-foot distancing guideline. So I just decided I'll go in, grab the item that I need, and kind of get out of the way of all the carts. I went on to probably get 3 more items. And as I get to the checkout, I'm looking for the bag that I brought to pack my groceries. And then it dawned on me as I'm looking through the cart, this is not my cart. I stole somebody else's cart. So I head back to where I think I might have left my cart at the aisle. And as I'm walking upstairs, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how did this happen? I'm so embarrassed. You know, is the person going to be pissed at me? Would I be pissed? I've had the cart for at least 5 minutes, no more than 10. And as I get to where the aisle is, I see a guy standing there, and he looks up, and I apologize immediately, and he's relieved and smiles. And he's like, oh my God, I'm just so glad to find my card. I couldn't figure out what happened to it. We both laughed, and he actually offered me a fist bump, which today would not be advised. But as I reflected back on what happened, I realized two things. So one, stress. Stress can show up in such strange ways and cause you to make mistakes that typically don't happen. And we need to remember that too with our teams. And two, kindness. Kindness makes all the difference. So how different would it have felt if this guy was pissed and yelled at me for taking his cart? It truly would have been a much different experience. And it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, they're going to forget what you did, but they're never going to forget how you made them feel. And so trust matters, kindness matters, and leadership is another key component to boosting engagement. And leadership's not a position or title, it's action and example. And I believe anyone can be a leader. That if people care enough and have the desire to build their leadership skills, they can do it. They don't have to be a manager to be a leader. But if you are a manager, I hope that you are focused on building your servant leadership skills. But encourage everyone on your team to be a leader. Talk about, discuss what it means to be a leader and how it's different from management, and to separate those skills out. I certainly would not be able to manage a team of 40 people without a team of leaders. One of the things that we did to help build leaders is to create a support library. As Harry Truman said in this quote, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And so if you create an environment for them to be a leader, and one of the things we did is we have a support budget of about $500 per year, and every quarter I solicit topics from the team. What books are out there, what audio books, what do we want on our shelf? And years ago when we started this, we actually tried to do a book club, and it worked okay for a while, but it just kind of faded, lost interest. So instead what we do is if you read a book, we ask people to put their name in the book, because then it just creates a little informal book club so that when they see who else read it, they can maybe go chat with them. So we're certainly working in a whole new world, many of us working from home. My team is completely 100% remote now as of 3 weeks ago, which is brand new for us. Prior to this, I probably worked remotely maybe once a month as needed, same with my team. And now we are all remote. And there's good and bad about it. The first week we were remote, people were sending pictures of their work-life environment. And as you can see, some have these beautiful spaces. They already had an office. Others are using Rubbermaid for their desk. Some have dual monitors, your chair, all of these things. Because when we were in the office, we all had dual monitors. Many of us had stand-up desks if we wanted them. And, it was just maybe more functional to get your stuff done. So we're asking people to kind of to pivot and take things on. And so one of the things for my team is I had to, actually tell them it's okay, especially this first week, right, when all this was brand new, it's okay that your kids are going to make noise. It's okay that the dog's going to bark. Somebody, he was a little hesitant to go home because he's got a toddler and a newborn at home. And, it is okay. If I would completely comfortable if I get a call from somebody complaining about that, which I highly doubt would happen. But, just had to have those conversations that we've never had to have before. And when you're thinking about, kind of that recognition, find ways to involve the whole team. Rather than putting it all on the manager to kind of figure it all out, I think if we look to the team to recommend stuff, it'll be more successful, right? Even in this picture, we do a support meeting once a month, and we would always try to find the ways to have fun. And the team actually recommended, let's have a Thin Mint eating contest. It was last year, probably around St. Patty's Day, and somebody was selling Thin Mints. And so 2 folks volunteered to do it. And the funny thing is with this picture is Hayden thought he actually won. He's the one with his hands in the air, the sad face shirt. but he actually ate one less cookie than Anna that looked all defeated. But I love the picture in here because, you know, at any given moment, this is how we can feel like, right? We can just have those ups and downs. And even right now, as we're working remotely and checking in and seeing how's everybody doing, what do they need, and, you know, encouraging the whole team to talk about those things, and how do we recognize people now when we are so remote. I think the biggest thing we can do right now is just be there in communication. And Zig Ziglar had said, so research indicates that workers have 3 prime needs. They want interesting work, they want recognition for doing a good job, and being let in on things that are going on in the company. And right now, you know, being remote, if some of you are not used to being remote, you don't have that physical presence and the awareness of seeing how people are doing and feeling and kind of that vibe. And so communication is such an important thing right now. And communication and collaboration is what I'm going to talk about next. They're very different in the sense that communication is usually one-sided, right? It's sharing information. It can be verbal, like in a team meeting, or written as an email. But if people, they have this need to know what's going on, and when they don't know, they'll often just make it up. So, you know, don't just wait for things to pass or cool off. Like, you know, attack it front on. Here's what it is. Here's what's going on. When we first were in quarantine the first week and at home, we had so much new information coming at us because we were trying to figure out, you know, like with the VPN and all that, which tunnel we should be on, processing that were changing, things we needed. And rather than bombard them with email after email, I said, okay, we're going to work through this stuff, and at the end of every day, I'm going to send you guys a communication so that we can kind of summarize where we're all at and know this is the factual stuff for that day. And so for 2 weeks, that was needed, where every day it was the daily email, here's what you need to know today. And now as of this week, actually the end of last week, stopped with those. And I'm someone that every week I send an email to the team, just kind of giving them updates on what's going on. I always include some kind of professional development, whether it's a video or a link to an article. If there's a process reminder that's needed, I include weekly stats from the week before for the team, some kudos. I always include a fun picture of the week, something that might have been taken by somebody on the team, of the team members, and then a quote. So those are the ways that I'm trying to keep communicating as well with my team. And then when it gets to collaboration, right, that's the multi-sided discussion base, working together, where it's very interactive. And so for us, it was really easy when we were in the office because we sat right next to each other. We didn't have walls, very few offices, and it was easy to collaborate. And now we're relying on our tools. And so for us, our instant messaging tool is allowing us to kind of keep going. And we, the nice thing is we're able to have different groups and kind of keep the whole company together based on product, but then also having a fun outlet with it, right? And making it known that it's okay to put some fun stuff in there. One of the things that I sent out to my team, and I included this because I thought it might be helpful for you guys as well, is when to use IM versus email. Because what we were finding is that, so we're staffed from 6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. We have a team that comes in at 1 o'clock to support our Hawaii district. And what was happening is they were going to the instant message tool, and there was so much to catch up on, they didn't really know where to start, and they're like, what's really important to us? So just reminding the team, hey, if it's something that needs to be tracked or documented, searched at a later date, send that via email, especially if it's a process change, important things that everybody needs to know. But if it's more of the, you're looking for help and you want to collaborate, but making sure they're not using that team until after they've done their research, right? We want to still be trying to qualify issues before we're just dumping it somewhere. And maybe the MS Teams was used for a heads-up informational and fun stuff. So just reiterating with the team on what to use for when kind of helped us to make sure we're all engaging in these tools in the same way. And then knowing that we're all in this together. One of the things is if you have a network, reach out to them to get ideas. Last week I was on I'm on the HDI local chapter board, and we had our team meeting, and Beth Jacobson, she is a friend and colleague. She now manages a support team at SAP Concur, and they're working 100% remote, but she follows the World Day calendar. You can Google that, and it offers up different days. And so in their fun chat, she posted on peanut butter and jelly. It was Unicorn World Day last week, and just sharing that. And I had put that out there in ours, and one of my coworkers was like, "Oh my God, my daughter loves unicorns. She didn't realize there was a Unicorn Day," right? And so now we have new coworkers. We might have little kids also involved in things, and so just keeping it fun and kind of lighthearted. And those happy hours, we're seeing them with family, we're seeing them with friends. Try to find ways to do that at work too. So what we've started doing 3 weeks ago is a virtual happy hour, and we do it for a half hour from 2 to 2:30 because our early shift folks that come at 6, they're done at 2:30. That you can join if you want. It's not mandatory. And what we just say is keep yourself logged into the phone if you get a call and hop out. The first time we just kind of did a fun thing. Last week we did a show and tell, like show something you made, and that was really fun. Beth Jacobson, who gave me some other ideas, said, maybe introduce your new coworkers, your pets, your kids, significant others, have a hat day, change the background to a desired travel location. So there's so many fun ideas out there to kind of keep the connection and seeing people. Now, for us at Infinite Campus, we haven't kind of required you must use your camera. We never talked about that. I just kind of wanted to see, and most people are doing it, I would say over 90%. And the ones that aren't, it's because they have a desktop, so they're RDMing into their desktop back at the office, and they just don't have a laptop or a camera on their current setup. Otherwise, they probably would. All right, and so to kind of wrap up, I wanted to share something just really quick to show you something we did. And with our onboarding, we haven't had to onboard anybody yet. Now, just depending on how long we're in quarantine here may determine this, but I'm really glad that we took the time to create kind of an onboarding plan so that it will help when we do bring on somebody. But what we did, so because of our spacecraft Star Trek-y theme, we worked with our marketing team and created a mission support. And we put in our core values in there. So we have our 5 core values of learning, teamwork, commitment, service, and leadership. And with that, to lay out when somebody starts with us, what they can expect. And because our school district, there's usually this cycle of a year, kind of from the beginning of school to the end, we usually tell people when they start, you're going to be ready to go in about 6 to 8 weeks, answering calls, but it's going to take you a full year to see everything that's going to come through from a school year. And so plan on that year. And so with that, we've built out some of the different things we need to do, whether it's orientation, right, those main things during that first part, and then the onboarding piece where it's what do they need to learn, what access do they need to be given, what training do they have, what experiences do they need to go through. And so within each of that, we've kind of laid that out. And a lot of this won't be relevant to you guys, I know that on those things, but I wanted to just to show you the format and kind of cut out a few pages in there. But then with that, what we did is we took all of the different lessons learned and we put it into our logo. So the Infinite Campus logo, kind of like these stars around a planet. And so with each thing that they do, we give them this printout for their desk, and they can mark little stars on it to know how they're progressing throughout. And when they do achieve certain ones, they might unlock maybe access to a tool that they now have because it's a secured thing that we need to make sure that they had training on. So I'm kind of looking forward to see if we do have to hire somebody, from remote, how this might help them. I know for us, it's been at least 3 years that we've been using this, and it's really helped for the onboarding to kind of share, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's what you can expect, and to really build the team to know that support is a career. And in closing, I just wanted to recommend to capture your culture. For us, we take a lot of pictures. We seem to have a lot of photographers on the team that enjoy taking pictures of the team, different things we do. And so every year we create kind of a yearbook and have that out there. So I have at least, 8 different books now on my desk and different things to kind of capture that culture out there and share it. thing that we got to start doing 2 years ago is we call it a support experience. And it's something where now new people joining campus will get to spend a day with support, and they get to hear who we are, what we do, how we do it, and it's really elevated kind of, I don't want to say our status in the company, but just the exposure to know what we do, right? Where sometimes people think, oh, it's just a typical help desk, and then they realize, oh, wow, these people, they're knowledge workers, right? They know what they're doing. They can solve problems. Let's involve them earlier. And so now we have a seat at the table when they're developing new things, you know, and we're helping with stuff. And it's really helped because when we flattened support years ago, one of the things that we also did is we widened our salary range because we don't have these titles. And so it really helps us to go, okay, what can we take on in support and grow within support, because we can build that and not have to leave support to take something on when it makes sense to keep it closer to the customer. So with that, I want to turn it over to Samson, and thank you guys all for attending. And if you have any questions, like Roy said, put them into the questions in audience. Another thing I wanted to mention is under the attachments and links, I did include a video and as well as an article on our team to give you more information. But I'm happy at any time if anybody has a need to see or talk to me, please reach out. Samson, over to you.
Thanks so much, Gina. That was a great presentation. Hello, everybody. My name is Samson, and I'm with NiceInContact, the Cloud Contact Center leader. And for the record, yes, I do love my job. We're going to spend the next few minutes, 10, 15 minutes, talking about a topic that I'm really passionate about, agent engagement. And I want to talk to you about ways to boost agent engagement and why it's so important. But first, because lots has changed in the past few weeks, we have a poll for you. So, Roy, can you bring up the poll?
I will launch the poll right now, and we have certainly a pertinent question for you. If you go to the Vote tab, you'll see the question there, and you can tabulate your vote. What is the current level of work from home in your contact centers? All our contact center agents are work from home now. Many of our agents are remote, but many still come to an office, or most of our agents still work out of our contact centers. So what are you doing right now during the current course of events in the pandemic, and however we want to term it? What's going on in your place of work? Everybody is remote, work from home. Many are remote, but still come to an office. Some still come to an office. Most of the agents still work out of the contact center. We'll leave that open for another few seconds. Okay, we're going to stop the voting now, and let's see what we have. Well, this stands to reason, I think, Samson, 90%, excuse me, it just did the final tabulation, 88% of the agents are now work from home. 7% come into an office, some of the teams come into the office, and 4% are still working out of contact center. So that's not unexpected, pretty high ratio there of people working from home.
Isn't that incredible? You know, indeed, our day-to-day has changed. That's pretty amazing. It's been challenging for everyone, and especially for organizations that play an important role in supporting their communities through this, right? And I've heard from a few contact center agents that I've worked with in the past, and many thousands of contact center agents have transitioned to work from home to continue safely providing essential services for all of us. And I just want to say thank you for all of you that are doing that. And I hope that everyone's staying safe and comfortable, and hopefully not having to work, too many of them working on a Rubbermaid box. That was kind of funny, Gina, that you shared with us. But getting back to the topic at hand, I want to talk to you about ways to boost agent engagement and why it's important for businesses to pay attention to that if they care about their customers. And I want to share some data with you. According to a recent Gartner survey, agent experience is the #1 factor in delivering an exceptional experience to your customers. But about half of organizations do not prioritize the agent experience. And so unfortunately, a lot of companies are not investing in employees, and not investing in your agents can really have a big impact on your customers. Companies with engaged employees pull in about 2.5 times more revenue compared to competitors with lower engagement levels. That statistic comes from the Hay Group from last year. So this is sharing some of our statistics with you. Oh, I think might have jumped ahead to a different slide there. Looks like I'm missing a slide, so I'm just going to pause back to right here so I can share a few more stats with you. You know, while a lot of companies think of improving their CSAT, their customer satisfaction, and they look at initiatives that are more driven from a customer standpoint, they look at improving their CSAT by providing customers with more channels and enabling them to connect through different channels of their choice. But it's really important also to consider ways to drive customer satisfaction from the inside out. What I wanted to share with you is really a new acronym for you. It's ASAT, your agent satisfaction, because I really think that it all starts with agents and getting them what they need to make their experience better first. So like the old school way of managing in the contact center for agent performance was, you know, to provide supervisors with reams of reports and data that they're supposed to decipher for insights that they could use to better manage the people that reported to them, right? And a more modern approach brings, you know, greater transparency and a collaboration. And, you know, companies like Infinite Campus, Gina's company, they're creating this culture of high performance and engagement, but they make it fun. And agents are really motivated when they see an alignment of goals and priorities with the larger organization. You know, it gives all of us, everybody, I say, people, a sense of purpose and direction. And providing that visibility and alignment to the corporation or the organization's overall goals, that's really critical. NiceInContact sponsored some ICMI research recently, and they found that the #2, motivation is having the agents want to have an impact on the organizational goals. You know, having that sense of purpose and the direction, and also constant motivation is really key. And that's another thing that this ICMI research found, that rewards and incentive programs are really #1 on the list for driving high satisfaction of agents. And, you know, last week we did an ICMI Twitter chat, and we talked about the importance of providing consistent service and how agent engagement is really critical to building loyalty. You can do that through service consistency. We know, I think everyone on that Twitter chat was really agreeing that it's really impossible to deliver consistent service if the agents aren't trained and equipped and empowered all of the same, you know, across the board. And we heard a lot of agreement there, you know, that employers really need to treat agents well and create a work environment, whether it's physically or virtually, you know, that's conducive to productivity. And that doesn't change, you know, with how things have played out in the last few weeks. It's still important to inspire that agent improvement and drive that productivity. So, you know, you can provide your staff, if you're managing contact center teams or supervising, you know, providing staff with transparency and visibility. It's really the first step in having agents see where they're marching towards. And, you know, it's not even just agents. I'm not personally a contact center agent, but even it counts on my team as well. We want to all be marching towards that same goal, and, you know, having visibility into the corporate priorities and the goals are really, really important, and that transparency. So it helps all of us employees to see, you know, where they can improve if there's that transparency. And, you know, bringing gamification into this, it makes it's positive behavioral changes, yes, but it's fun and interactive, and it keeps people engaged. And it really, I've seen it really create a healthy team environment, especially, you know, when you've got its data behind it and you've tied it to performance. So, you know, just to summarize, I want to say that it's important to remember that an agent-oriented contact center is really a customer-optimized one. I've seen this in, you know, visiting many contact centers in the past, in visiting with them over with training and seeing how different teams and contact centers and how they, you know, how they treated their agents was really quite insightful. To really drive a better customer experience and even agent experience, as we talked about, that's really important for that customer experience overall. You really want to give your agents, you know, vision and transparency and collaboration. And when you give them these things, there's, you know, benefits to the agent, improves their performance metrics. We know that it reduces the attrition rate because people know where they stand and they have that visibility whether through their dashboard. And then for the customer, they are engaging with a happier, more confident agent, and that really can translate to a better customer satisfaction rate, NPS score, and referral and recommendations, and so on. So what you want to really do is to boost the performance of your agent through using team collaboration, like Gina talked about, you know, personalized incentives and those reward programs. And if you're transparent and aligned about these things, they can really strive to help the agents deliver on more consistent service. Then tying in the data piece, so data-driven gamification, it's a great way to provide motivation and help your whole contact center really achieve and exceed their goals. You can combine this all with team collaboration and using the right incentives. It really helps to drive a better performance and more consistent service, and we talked about that consistency being so important. And when everyone's working from home these days, that's even much more of a challenge, right, providing that consistent service. Because as we saw, everyone's desk today looks very different, their workspaces, if they're suddenly transitioning to that work from home. So a little bit about us and what we do. We are NiceInContact, and our CX1 portfolio essentially consolidates all tools that are required for a contact center into one single platform. So it's really much more efficient and effective. On a single platform, you can schedule and engage your agents, listen to customers, and of course route them to the right agent. And on our platform, all of this is done much more efficiently with AI and automation that could be injected across the platform. We've got an open platform that provides an ability to connect any application effortlessly to provide really great opportunities for innovation. We have been in the cloud contact center market. We were born in the cloud 15 years ago. 395,000 agents across over 100 countries are working with customers, and those agents are on CX1 today. We're the only cloud contact center with FedRAMP authorization to operate, and we were ranked as a leader by several of the top industry analysts, as you can see. And I invite you to learn more on our website, but really what I want to show you is I want to share some resources. These are fantastic resources that I'm sharing with you to download, so highly recommend you download these. I talked about some of the stats today, and the report with ICMI. It's an agent research report called The State of Agent Experience and Engagement in Today's Contact Centers. We've also got this fantastic agent experience maturity assessment. You get to answer 10 questions, and it helps to assess your company's maturity with agent experience and learn what steps you need to take to really level up there. I want to thank you for your time today, and just to remind everyone, you know, I know that we're in a bit uncertain times, but your effort matters and your dedication really accounts, and it's all making a difference. So even if you can't quite see it yet, we're all kind of sitting working from our homes. Just know that it matters, and I just want to thank you for your time. I look forward to the Q&A.
Thanks, Samson. That was terrific stuff. Okay, let's get to the questions, and there are quite a few. Any thoughts on how to assure clients that the contact center teams are committed and delivering? You probably both have some thoughts around that. Gina?
Hi, this is Gina. Yeah, so the first week we went working from home, we realized, you know what, our school districts are also working from home, and they may not have, maybe they didn't bring our phone number with how to reach us, because we only allow authorized support contacts to call us. So what we did is we sent an email to all of our authorized support contacts, not pointing out that we're working from home, but just reminding them we're here for them, here's how to reach us, and hoping to make it seem like they're, you know, it's a non-event, that we're still here and doing everything we can to support them.
Great, thank you. Somebody remarked that they'd love a copy of your onboarding document. I would just like to remind people that they can download the slide deck, which contains that explanation of Gina's onboarding for her team. So don't forget to go to the attachments tab and download the entire slide deck from today's presentations. I'm finding schedule adherence more challenging with agents working from home compared with the majority of my team working in the office. Are there any tips to encourage schedule adherence? That can be for either one of you.
And this is Gina. I can, Tamsin, feel free to chime in too if you have experience from more of the industry. We at Infinite Campus, we don't do schedule adherence. We put out there kind of the expectations, right? So everybody works an 8.5-hour day because they take a half hour for lunch, and the expectation is that they are available, so their not ready time is under 40%, meaning they pick and choose when they might need to be in a meeting, when they're, you know, maybe need to be off the phones because they have to do some deep work on a tough problem. And so there is no management of that. We put that management into the team's hands to know what's best, and we're kind of within their team. So typically when we were doing lunches, at campus, they provided lunch for us. So our biggest challenge going home now is not having lunch made for us. But we, you know, the biggest thing is just making sure people are taking lunches when they need them. Now, for us, luckily, about, I would say 3 people of the 40 on my team need flexible schedule because they're, you know, they have their kids and they might need to work early in the morning and then late at night or maybe a few hours on the weekend. And we're fortunate to have that luxury to be able to say, go ahead and put in your time when you can, because we have enough people covering that we're able to do that. I know that's not a luxury for every team, so I don't know, Tamsin, if you have any suggestions for the adherence part.
No, nothing to add. I think that those are great suggestions.
Okay, Tamsin, what tips do you have for supervisors who are brand new to managing a remote team?
Great question. You know, it might be obvious to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think over-communicating and rethinking all of the little things. You know, now is not the time to run on assumptions. So it's really important to, especially if you are new to working remotely, you want to make sure that you're setting and following through on your rhythms for, you know, all hands meetings, team meetings, and also one-on-one engagement. All those levels you want to make sure you're hitting. You want to make sure that you know, you're driving the collaboration, because it's a challenge to collaborate when you can't see people. You know, that's a bit of a hurdle, and especially if you're new to working remotely. So you want to make sure that you're driving that collaboration and making it easy for people to provide feedback, whether you're using you know, IM, you're using Microsoft Teams. You want to make sure that you're driving that collaboration, ensuring that productivity continues. And the second thing I want to say, besides over-communicating, is, you know, this is just paying homage, of course, to our topic, but paying attention to agent engagement. You know, 3-4 weeks ago, a supervisor could walk down the hall, you know, walk around the floor and do their rounds and stop by and see an agent and see, you know, there's that body language, you can see cues. You don't have that anymore, or you don't have that right now while you're working remotely if everyone's split up. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that agent engagement. More engaged agents means less turnover. We talked about the higher satisfaction with customers, but also research shows that agents or employees just in general, when their manager involves them in setting goals and at work, they're just they're happier. So that's important.
Thank you. Here's a very interesting question, and I've kind of been wondering about this myself. Will agents want to come back to work at a central office? Do either one of you have a sense for how that's going to go? Is it too early to tell?
Oh my God, right? Yeah, and once a quarter I do one-on-ones with my team, and I had started them prior to us working from home, and so I kind of continued them. And for some people, especially that first week, they were like, oh my God, I can't wait to get back. They want to be in the office. That's what they enjoy being around. And then, there's a few that are like, you know what, I kind of like this. They're the introverts that just want to put their head down and do their work. And so I think we're going to have a mix of that. Now, I see that a lot in the industry publications, but I know our CEO, he built this building and he wants us there, and he believes in the collaboration and being there, knowing, we have flexibility to work from home when we need to, not this much. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where some people are going to embrace it and be clapping as they walk in the office, and then others that are, going to wish they were still in their jammies and not having to put makeup on.
Great, thanks. Here's a question on gamification. Do we think gamification is more necessary and more relevant in today's isolation environment? Mm-hmm. Either one of you can take that one. What do you think?
I think that there's definitely, benefits to gamification in our environment, working remotely, absolutely, to building that team camaraderie, especially if you have, peer-to-peer, competitions and such.
Right. Samson, what tips do you have for finding and retaining quality agents?
Well, the tips that I would share would be, especially with our working remotely, the kind of characteristics you want to look for in somebody who can work well from home, an agent that can work well from home. They're reliable, and they enjoy working alone. And I don't think you need to be an introvert for that necessarily. And I'm just saying that from my own experience. I've been working from home for about 10 years now. And so it was an interesting question, will agents want to go back? So I'm a bit of an extrovert, introvert, but I do enjoy working alone. So that's important, that you don't mind working alone. But you're not alone, per se, if you have that, collaboration going on. You're using Zoom or video calling. You've got gamification and people engaging with each other and towards, a common goal. Those are all important things. So enjoy working alone, but also, able to interact in those ways, right? Be able to learn quickly, learn how to use these new tools like Zoom or, the webcam, for example, right? Maybe new to some people. Also, time management is really, really important in being self-motivated. If people working, whether working in a contact center or whether working at home as a contact center agent, those are really important characteristics to look for. So somebody who's self-motivated and can manage their time well.
Thank you. And I think this is for both of you. We utilize a behavioral assessment on all of our employees, which helps with communication, team building, and engagement by knowing each person's motivating drives, needs, and behaviors. What type of tools do you recommend using?
Hey, this is Gina. So we do our HR department uses Behavioral One. that we have access to kind of make sure, more of the job fit. And then from there, when they join our team, we actually give everybody a copy of the book, Marcus Buckingham's Strength Finder. And, just more as a way to kind of, some people love this kind of stuff, right? They want to understand what they do well at and their strengths. And, that one is a pretty affordable way to give them a peek into that, plus kind of see as a team what are our strengths and talk about that and why it's more important to kind of focus on your strengths than fixing your weaknesses, which can be more effort, in that. So that's one we use. Another tool we use that isn't necessarily a tool, but we assign everybody a mentor. So we kind of look at kind of that personality fit and who will somebody learn best from, right, where they'll feel comfortable. And so we have a small team that has kind of we have a session on how to be a mentor, and once they've gone through that to understand what it means to be a mentor, and then assign them to somebody new that can really bring out the best in them and create kind of that safe space for them to ask questions and grow with.
Great, thank you. And I think these two are a little bit related, so I'll ask them both, and either one of you is welcome to respond. One says, I see Infinite Campus uses Teams for IM. Have you used any add-ons to create some fun activities, games, trivia, etc.? And they said, we use a channel dedicated to fun called Break Room. We just completed our first week 100% remote with 50 agents, and I want to be able to connect us all. This week we're conducting some one-on-ones. Next week we have a Teams video conference, video staff meeting, but I want to be able to incorporate some fun as well. So do either one of you know any add-ons or some other software you could use to kind of draw people in and have some fun?
I haven't. This is Gina. I haven't done that break room one, but that sounds like something I need to look into. We just went to MS Teams, maybe 6 months ago, and we were using it, but not as much as we're using it now. And now I was able to do my one-on-ones video using that. We can use screen share if we need to work with somebody because maybe they need help solving a problem. Before we could kind of roll and look at their desk, their computer. Now we just share that. But as far as the fun ones, I do not, but I'm curious to know more about them.
Great, thanks. How are you dealing with the varying levels, and I guess this is a general question too, so Samson join in, I think. How are you dealing with varying levels of technical expertise by agents along with minimum requirements from home access of your systems?
Oh yeah, this is Gina. So this one, the first week we went remote, we had half of our team kind of go to see what were we going to need to work through, what we couldn't access, and worked with our IT team. And I would say probably 95% of the things we need access to, we can do that from home. Last week we had something come up, so we have a test environment with like a different Mac, and because we're a software company and support the parent portal for parents on their phones, we have devices, right? So you need that physical device to see what's going on, and we don't have those, so we're trying to figure out, virtual ways to do that kind of stuff, which is possible. So we're still working through some of those, but even from a standpoint of people with different technical knowledge, right before we went remote, we did have somebody that was newer and making sure he had access to everything while still being able to learn and grow and knowing who to reach out to, right, when you need help with certain things.
Thank you so much. We're inside of a minute left now, so I would like to thank our speakers today, Gina Montague, Samson Dolan, for joining us. And to our sponsor, NiceInContact, a big thank you for allowing us to continue our webinar program. It's very helpful. This webcast is copyright 2020 by Informa. The presentation materials are owned by or copyrighted by ICMI, which is solely responsible for its content, and the individual speakers are solely responsible for their content and their opinions. Don't miss our next ICMI webinar. And thanks for attending today, and on behalf of ICMI, thank you for your time. Have a great day. Stay safe.